Breaking news now. The Russians are at it again with the world's most inept weapon. Firstly, Russia can't afford any of its super weapons, and secondly, the weapons are usually pretty dumb anyway, as this article serves as a regular reminder. We all had a good chuckle at Vladimir Putin's claim that he now possesses a nuclear cruise missile capable of changing the world. If this is indeed the case, the world is in dire straits. All multicellular life on Earth is in danger because of a Russian nuclear-powered cruise missile. Russia can almost always launch a nuclear strike without fear of retaliation from any country. There is too much of a technological advantage. Faint in the presence of your new master. However, Putin is typically making things up. Keep putting money aside for your upcoming holiday adventure. You need not worry about his missile interfering with your grand plans. With apologies to everyone except those of you in Ukraine. Please don't stop slaughtering that guy's orcs. Salute to Ukraine. Take Putin at his word with a grain of salt. Instead of starting with the issues with Burevestnik, let's talk about the ones with Putin. To begin, the Russian economy is dominated by a small elite group. Corruption at epidemic levels eats away at the meager GDP that exists. Putin constructs bizarre mini-cities, and the Ministry of Defense has to invent improvements in both weaponry and military training to placate the public. Statistics on the Russian economy are released frequently. Numerous investigators from outside Russia have uncovered evidence disproving the country's claimed economic growth. A combination of an understated economy and widespread theft leaves little room in the budget for military modernization. To increase the oil price floor, which, to be fair, worked, Russia reduced exports. More recently, it announced even deeper export reductions, ostensibly to reduce inflation by keeping more oil and byproducts in domestic markets. And it may prevent production from picking up again until next year. As a result, Putin has a limited budget for weapons. Since Russia has begun a massive land war, the entire military budget is necessary at the present time. Furthermore, its citizens aren't particularly interested in conflict unless they stand to gain financially. Oh, and it has to pay over the odds for subpar artillery. Putin, meanwhile, routinely exaggerates the development and readiness of his military's arsenal. Notably, he had previously claimed that this particular missile was ready to fly, only to have it shake itself apart in a test in 2019. Russia is strapped for cash. Putin has a history of lying, and he has every reason to lie again, as many in the Western media are willing to believe and report on anything he says. Inherent flaws in Russia's nuclear-capable cruise missile. How about the warhead of the missile now? The Burevestnik isn't an improbable weapon design, after all. The United States actively pursued the development of nuclear-powered rockets. In addition, it included a prototype nuclear-powered bomber, a tank, and other military hardware. And nuclear power permits considerable travel on a relatively small quantity of fuel. Therefore, Russia could develop a nuclear-powered missile, right? Perhaps they have, in fact. A nuclear-powered cruise missile would make headlines, but it wouldn't actually alter the nuclear-powered dynamic very much. Submarines built in Russia have a solid reputation. They also have a large stockpile of nuclear-tipped missiles. A nuclear strike against Russia would therefore almost certainly result in the loss of multiple American cities, as the United States is well aware. Meanwhile, being in the vicinity of a nuclear-powered missile during launch is disastrous. Even Belarus wouldn't want that much radiation on its territory, and since Russia can't really deploy the missiles forward, the vast majority of the radiation would be experienced by Russians. Burevestnik might or might not make the United States more vulnerable to nuclear attack, but it would certainly increase the number of Russian casualties. If it even works, that is. If the world were to end tomorrow, it would be due to the efforts of thousands of submariners, the same people who have been posing a threat to humanity's survival for decades. If that doesn't comfort you, I'm sorry. We only said the new weapon was stupid, not that a nuclear holocaust was impossible.